what was it like inside this? So you were in a cell, were you? This after
Yeah.
Trans's mental illness and
Yeah.
On your own.
Yeah.
Is that shitty?
It is.
Bored.
Bored is certainly a word.
Yeah.
But something really comes into reality. Something really comes into focus. When you're sat in a cell, and I have a newfound respect for regardless of what you think of these individuals, for Julian Assange or Tommy Robinson, I don't think many people deserve solitary confinement, especially for that length of time. And in that moment I was only in there, I say only, I mean, it's long enough for me. I wouldn't really want to go on any longer. For 9 to 10 hours, it's a very strange experience because you realise that you're in the hands of the state and your freedom is gone in that moment, it's just over.
Do you have a phone or something?
Nothing.
That's quite hard. Not 9 or 10 hours like that.
Yeah, I was sat on a hard bed, whatever they had, like a soft kind of like thin memory foam thing, for 9 hours, just on my own. They take everything. All they give you is a small booklet so you can know your rights. But after you've read that 100 times, you get a bit bored.
Ugh.
So and the worst part is you're sharing it with. I had people in there. At the same day was the Palestine demonstration. I'm going to assume they were from the Palestine demonstration because they were just shouting things like praise be to Allah, shouting constantly. And I'm just kind of sat there and then somebody like banging on the door. And I'm in there for something that, I mean, obviously I don't know why they were arrested. Maybe it was just as ridiculous as why I was, or who knows. But point being, you're in there for 9 hours for what? Freedom of speech, having to deal with it. And this is why we're going to sue.
Are you?
Yes, and this is why I'm going to take on this as an official case, and I'm going to be getting support from all sorts of areas.
Free Speech Union?
Yeah, hopefully that's going to be going ahead, and this is an absolutely outrageous attack on free speech. And to be sat in a cell for that length of time, you do start to go mad. By about 11 o'clock at night, I got released at 11:30. I remember you lose track of time because you don't have a clock, so you don't even know what time it is. You don't have any daylight.
You don't know when you'll be let out either.
You don't know when you'll be let out.
Uncertainty.
And so you're just sat there with no idea when you're going to be let out. It's a very, very strange experience. That was just for 9 to 10 hours. The individuals that have been put in prison for freedom of speech, who have to do it for months on end, newfound respect. It's an unbelievable process. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think they had access to some things, didn't they? I mean, you had nothing for those 9 or 10 hours. Yeah. Whereas those, like, I think Tommy, he needs to come on here at some point, but I need to ask him. But he had some various bits and pieces. I don't know if he had a TV or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
I think I was told after you're entitled to a Bible, which is nice.
Have you read it before?
Bible.
Yeah.
It's a complicated read. I'm getting there.
It's not an easy read, is it?
Yeah. It's one of the most complicated books out there.
Yeah.
But no, I focused on Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Read those, and also, I was never taught. Christian or not Christian, doesn't matter. The Bible is such an important part of literature and in terms of ethics and philosophies, etc., which I just want to get to grips with. Even Old Testament, I think, is incredible. So yeah.
Are you worried about the loss of those values in our society?
I'm not just worried. I'm actively campaigning to have those values. Look, I am a Christian. And my point is always, whether you're an atheist or whether you're a Christian or Jewish or whatever, you've got to look at what Christ proposed in terms of his values and approach to life and be like, that does sound like quite a good idea. Like, love thy neighbor, turn the other. These are all great principles. So why are we not governing our country under those sort of ideas? And if we did, I don't think we would have had lockdown. I don't think we would be in the situation we're in with this mass governmental overreach and authoritarianism.
Isn't God a bit authoritarian? I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah. It's a very, very interesting question. And I think the way I would answer that is, I wouldn't be here. My perspective is, I wouldn't be here without God. I've been gifted something beautiful, and God, biblically speaking, loves us. And has, I would say, from my experience, personal experience, I have been stewarded and directed in certain ways, which I would claim to be from God. And to that extent, I look past kind of Old Testament narratives where you could look at it and go, whoa, that's a bit kind of crazy. And authoritarian. So I do agree. And this is why the Bible is obviously some people will take the Bible as full fact. I don't do that. I do also think the Bible has been evolved. I think there's lots missing from the Bible too. I think there's a huge history which is not part of Jesus's life, for example, which is missing from the Bible. So I read the Bible with the understanding that I want to draw from it the main principles of Christ. And debate a lot of other things. And I think the argument, is God authoritarian, is a very valid one. I think that's a great discussion. And to answer you, I don't have that. I haven't given it enough thought to be able to tell you my opinion on that straight away, but it's something that's, look at that. You've made me think about something and I'm going to go away and think about it. Isn't that great? And then next time someone asks me, I will have an answer. So I think that's, a valid point.
The problem is, though, agree? When we're asked these questions, it's the way we go into them, I think. Because if you go into it trying to find an answer, because I was just having an argument debate before you here with Connor Tomlinson about sort of, and I always have this debate with him about ethnicities and things, and I'm trying to say, it's fine having lots of ethnicities, and he's trying to say other things, that we can't have such a mix because it's going to be the end of the country. And I find myself not knowing always what to say. I don't really have an answer, and I'm desperately looking for anything I can cling on to, rather than just going, oh God, yeah, well maybe he's
so.
Right.
Just if I'll just build on that, and I also want to reflect on where I came in terms of being a Christian. When I grew up, so my father is one of my greatest influences. I absolutely love my dad, and is protected and loved me and supported me in numerous ways, especially in the lockdown days. My mum as well, of course, but my dad was really kind of hardcore on the whole lockdown thing. However, it's important to note that my dad wouldn't even identify as an atheist, because he thinks saying, oh, I'm an atheist gives too much credit to religion, because it's like saying there's an opposite. It's like saying there's even a possibility of an alternative.
Doesn't even need to be said.
Need to be said. Yeah. So I've grown up with that, and me and my dad, obviously, we do lock horns in an organic sense and have these discussions, and that's great. But it's important to note that for me to go in the direction of believing, kind of biblical texts and so forth, that's a massive deal in my family, and also for me as a person, and I don't take it lightly. And I think, just to go back, when you say, was God authoritarian, I've reflected on that a lot myself. And you have a lot of Christians these days who would get angry at what you've just said, would react to what you've just said and be really visceral and emotional. And I'm going to say, do you know what? As somebody who has become a Christian, I still find it incredibly hard in terms of, I'll give you another example, free will and determinism. I've been brought up, my dad is a great reader of Nietzsche and free will and God is dead and all of these things. And so that's what I was brought up on. So then to go down the structure of, oh, God's got a plan for you, I find the whole conversation around things being determined and having free will really hard to deal with. But it gets me thinking so much, and I will say that my approach and the humility, which everyone struggles with humility, especially when you start to get engagement and people start to follow you and support you and things. But I would say a lot of that has been stewarded under the principles, as I say, whether you're a Christian, doesn't matter, of Christ, and taking kind of, taking a leaf out of his book, if you like. I think in turn, I'm pleased with the direction of which I've gone. However, let's debate it. I look forward to talking to my dad after what I've just said.
Yeah, I think that might be, now that I think about it, part of what put me off of religion myself, and I'm similar to you. Like, if someone wants to believe, if someone doesn't, what's it to do with me?
Yeah.
But I got put off, I think, by what was a perceived authoritarian, rabbis telling me this and that, this is the way it is. It's written in these books. You have to go along with that. And I felt very much like, no, leave me alone.
Yeah, and I see your point. And there is the Catholic Church, I think, has behaved appallingly. Mass authoritarianism in the Catholic Church, and it's been used to control society. The church has been weaponized.
Every church, every group, every mosque, every synagogue.
Oh, I absolutely agree. When someone says to you, "What denomination are you?" I'm like, I just believe in Jesus Christ. And I think that's the best approach. No one really takes that. That's not even like really brought up, especially in like mainstream education in the school system. That's not even an option. You have to belong to, you have to give an earthly label to it. Like, I'm a Protestant, I belong to the Catholic Church, which I think is ridiculous. Yeah. I think read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Don't be everyone. I think everyone should read it. I think atheist or not, as I keep reiterating, just read it. Get some insight from there. And your argument you've just made, I'm probably just as familiar with from being an atheist to being a Christian, and it's something I find quite challenging because I do reject mass authoritarianism, and it's definitely something that I have to reflect on a lot. But overall, I still at the moment am very much committed to a Christ-like approach as much as I can anyway.
91% watching Heretics clips are not subscribed. Quick favour, hit subscribe. Free, takes 2 seconds, and helps us question everything together.